Sunday's first video for you with first news story is from Eritrea. Eritrean government has announced some measures. The announcement is about tomorrow's Martyrs' Day on the 20th of June. Eritrea commemorates the sacrifices of those who sacrificed for the independence of Eritrea. The second news story is from Ethiopia. Ethiopia has intensified efforts for revival of AGOA, African Growth and Opportunity Act. Thousands could lose jobs in Ethiopia in coming days if AGOA is not revived. Third news story is from Wellega. According to Oromia regional government and private news sources, dozens of civilians have been killed in West Wellega in attacks by Oromo Liberation Army. And fourthly, OLA has shared pictures of some prisoners. Firstly, those Gambela regional security officials and militia members who have been taken prisoner by OLA, they have been shown. And secondly, OLA in Dambi Dolo released some prisoners from a prison which OLA calls political prisoners. They have been shown as well. And lastly, we have a video clip for you from Tigray, from Shire. How are IDPs living in Shire? We know that in Shire there is presence of large number of IDPs from Western Tigray, from other parts of Tigray. How are these IDPs surviving? Are people of Shire helping them or not? Firstly, viewers, Eritrea on the 20th of June on Monday, Eritrea will observe Martyrs' Day, a public holiday. The day is observed to commemorate the sacrifices of those who fought for the independence of Eritrea. 30-year struggles, martyrs are remembered on this day, 1961 to 1991 struggle. And Yemane Gebremeskel, Eritrean Information Minister, has made some announcement in connection with the Martyrs' Day. Firstly, he says that on the 19th of June and 20th of June, both Radio Dempsey and Eri TV will broadcast programs, documentaries, films about the sacrifices of Eritrean martyrs for independence of Eritrea. And they will allot entire airtime for these programs. Secondly, President of Eritrea, Isaias Afwerki, will lay wreath tomorrow at Martyrs Monument, and this event will be broadcast live on Eri TV. And thirdly, at 1 p.m. local time, 1 minute silence will be observed by all Eritreans in the memory of those who sacrificed for independence of Eritrea. Yemane says that 80,000 Eritreans lost their lives. They sacrificed for the independence of Eritrea. We'll update you tomorrow about the programs held, the ceremony which will be attended by Isaias Afwerki, Eritrean president. Secondly, viewers, Ethiopia. At the start of this year, in January, I think, US removed Ethiopia from AGOA. AGOA is African Growth and Opportunity Act. under this act, uh, Ethiopian textile products had duty-free access to US markets. Ethiopia and two other countries were removed from AGOA over poor human rights record. Obviously, this removal was linked to Tigray conflict. Since then, Ethiopian government has been lobbying in the US for revival of AGOA. AGOA has not been revived so far, but Ethiopian economy is feeling the pinch of AGOA, and thousands of Ethiopian workers working at industrial zones in factories could lose jobs if AGOA is not revived. An Indian company by the name of Best Garment has announced that it will have to close its operations if there is no AGOA. The company works in Havasa Industrial Park. The company officials say that they have no orders for any work, and they have lost their ability to compete in US market after the removal of Ethiopia from AGOA. And some sources say that around 3,000 workers could lose jobs in industrial zones of Ethiopia if there is no revival of AGOA. Engineer Seleshi Bakele, who is new Ethiopian ambassador to US, has held some meetings in the US. He's trying to rally support among US lawmakers, US senators for the revival of AGOA. He has held a meeting with Buddy Carter, who is a US congressman who sits on US House Committee on Commerce and Energy, and there he raised the issue of revival of AGOA. Ethiopia has employed some lobbying firms as well, which are working in the US for revival of AGOA, but so far no announcement regarding this revival. And meanwhile, if there is no revival, yes, thousands could lose jobs in Ethiopian industrial parks. Thirdly, viewers, Wellega government news sources, Oromia regional government news sources, and Ethiopian federal government communication department officials, they say that several civilians have been killed, properties have been damaged by OLA in an attack on Wellega. The place where this attack was carried out is Dimbi. Dimbi is in West Wellega, and in Dimbi, West Wellega, Tolo is the cabale where this attack was perpetrated. And regional government of Oromia has not shared details how many civilians were killed, how many properties were damaged. They just say that properties have been damaged, civilians have been killed, but private news sources claim that around 80 innocent civilians, mostly of Amhara ethnicity, they were targeted in Tolo, and they have been and they have been killed in Wellega. Well, it denies all these killings, but we know that in recent days, OLA has started a new offensive in Dimbi, in Dambidolo, in other parts of Kalaman and West Wellega. But we're waiting for official statement from OLA. We'll update you. Government says OLA is behind the attack, and several have been killed. I think government should share details, victims, their families. Details should be shared, which are being shared by some private news sources. Government should reject or verify what is being shared by private news sources about Amharas who have been killed in Tole, Kabale, Gimbi district, West Wellega. Fourthly, viewers, Oromo Liberation Army has shared some pictures. We know that a few days ago, OLA and GLF Gambela Liberation Front launched a joint operation in Gambela city. And after that, we saw a campaign against Oromo civilians, mostly civilians in Gambela, and several civilians have been killed. Most say they're from Oromo ethnic group. And in OLA's attack, several members of regional forces of Gambela were killed, and OLA took regional security officials captive as well. Now, OLA has shared pictures of regional Gambela, regional militia members and Gambela regional forces officials who have been taken prisoner by OLA. You can see the picture on your screen. These are from Gambela region, security officials, militia members who have been taken prisoner by OLA. Secondly, Oromo Liberation Army stormed a prison in Dambidolo, I think Dambidolo in Wellega, and prisoners were released. Some say more than 300 were released there. OLA says that those are political prisoners, whoever they were, but they have been released, and now OLA has shared pictures of these released prisoners. You can see a pic. These are the prisoners who were at Dambidolo prison, and OLA released them. Now, what I want to say is that Colonel Garresso, Ethiopian government, federal government, regional government, what were they saying a few days ago? That OLA was considerably weakened. It was in no cabinet, no town, no district. And suddenly OLA has killed 80 people in Dimbi. OLA has released dozens of prisoners from Dambidolo prison. OLA and GLF have jointly attacked Gambela, where for hours there was attack in the heart of Gambela, Gambela city, capital of Gambela. That shows that government's reporting about OLA is not correct. Or government wants to hide the facts, which cannot be hidden, because private news sources and through social media, you know what is happening on the ground in Wellega, in Gambela, BG. Lastly, viewers, Tigray backed news sources have shared a clip from Shire. In Shire, we know that there are thousands of IDPs. From western Tigray, Tigrayans were pushed towards central Tigray, towards Shire, towards other parts of central Tigray and northwestern Tigray. And Shire hosts tens of thousands of IDPs. How are they living? Are they receiving any assistance? We have a clip for you. The IDPs say that when they arrived in Shire a few months ago, locals helped them. Back then there was not as dire shortage of food as it is now. But now no one is helping them, because locals of Shire don't have food available for their own use. So how can they help these IDPs? IDPs are suffering more in Shire than locals, because IDPs they've been displaced from western part of Tigray, Humera, Volkai, Sagade, other parts of Tigray, and now they're living in makeshift arrangements, and aid delivery is limited due to fuel restrictions. Aid has not been delivered to entire Tigray so far. That is why IDPs in Tigray are suffering more than locals. Watch this clip about IDPs in Shire. Thanks for watching.
The residents of Shire were reaching out, but now the people of Shire themselves are facing hunger. They can no longer help us.
The IDPs say much of the assistance they've received over the past year has come from residents of Shire. Residents who, after almost a year without vital services like banking, telecommunication, and electricity, have found it hard to sustain even themselves.
These clothes, this scarf, was given to me from the residents of Shire. They have given us all they could. They have cared for our children as if they were their own. They used to give us food, but now they can't do that. We are awaiting our death. We received 10 kilograms of wheat once, but we haven't received assistance since. There are countless IDPs here. The food aid, on the other hand, is limited.
The people are generous. They used to give us what they had, especially during holidays. Now even the residents need assistance. People are dying. I lost of a friend of mine while he was asleep.
Laliti Shwabe, a local official, tells us that her office has been able to record the death of close to 180 IDPs in northwestern Tigray. She tells us that if aid is not able to reach those in need, and soon many may lose their lives.
We lost 58 in Hinsats, 102 in Shira, 14 in Shiraro, 3 in Mai Hansa. The report is yet to be complete, so it should be understood that it's far from complete. People are dying every hour. Our people are perishing.
The humanitarian truce declared in late March has not resulted in an improved condition for the humanitarian situation in Tigray, with just 20% of much-needed aid reaching the region and even less being distributed due to lack of fuel.